Hi friends, welcome to this video. I am going to be talking about the all-encompassing important Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius that happens on the solstice, December 21st. So let's get going. So what this means overall, and then I'll go through the different uh, signs so you can see. You will always want to take in context that larger, what does it mean globally? It is a global energy. It happens every 20 years, but this one's very significant because it's more than just a 20-year situation. So Saturn and Jupiter come together, they make a conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius, like boom, right? Goes into the sign and they boom, come together. And it is in an air sign. There was one air sign in 1981, 82 in Libra that happened. But before that, for the last couple hundred years, it's all been in the earth signs. It's called the Great Mutation. So we get these chunks of Jupiter, Saturn, conjunctions every 20 years that go through these major cycles in earth signs, fire signs, water signs, air signs, and they stay those cycles for almost 200 years. So it makes, it means that there's major shifts coming onto the planet. Bottom line, it means there's major shifts coming onto the planet in an Aquarian air nature. So being centered at the core of who you are will help you navigate these changes because everything will be evolving. For those of us who were born before 1981, it is, we will feel this shift. We've been in since the 80s. We've been in this in-between world because in 2000, the Jupiter-Saturn went back into Taurus in another earth sign. So we've been in this shifting, major shifting evolution, and now we're full-fledged into it. The Sabian symbol for this degree is an old Adobe mission. Now, an old Adobe mission, according to James Burgess, interprets the symbol as some aspects of life are more important than others, and we build lasting forms for those that we want to outlive us. And Daniel Rudger gives the key word for this symbol as endurance. Therefore, it's time to build something that's enduring in your life that can outlast you, and to use the raw materials of your own gifts and talents. That's mission. You know, the old Adobe mission, that's the mission. Now, the caution of the symbol is about fundamentalist thinking. There will be a segment of society that's like, my way's the right way, and, you know, your beliefs are wrong, my beliefs are right. In Aquarius, Aquarius is a very intellectual sign, it's a very thinking sign, but it can polarize. So unfortunately, there's the transformational energy is about all humanitarian principles. The shadow side of that is more polarization. Now, New Year's Eve, right? It ushers in 2021 with Jupiter and Saturn aligned with the fixed star Altar at 2 degrees of Aquarius. It's not on the conjunction because then when you look at fixed stars, you really have to have them really close. But it is ushering in the new year on this major fixed star, and it's one of the 15 very strong fixed stars that have been recorded in the Book of Hermes and Agrippa and other ancient sources. These fixed stars, these 15 fixed stars, have been attributed to certain magical powers of strength, and they embody astrological talisman. Jupiter and Saturn connected to the fixed star Altar, which is in the constellation of the Eagle. That's been connected to fire and lightning and sun gods for over 3,500 years. And according to Bernadette Brady, in her excellent book called Star and Planet Combinations, the principle of Eltar is boldness and military power. Hopefully it doesn't mean that we're going into some military maneuvers in 2021, but it is about boldness. And with Jupiter, it is the courage of one's convictions through bold actions, and Saturn building to, that Saturn building energy. And now Jupiter, like I said, Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions happen every 20 years, but this is a big shift because we're going all into the air signs. And this change will disrupt employment, relationships, our communities. A lot of new opportunities will present themselves, and they will be Aquarian air oriented. So they're internet related, they're educational, they're technology, they're artificial intelligence, they're the development of products connected to advanced technology. So much of our life will become virtual. Now, Saturn actually dipped into Aquarius for 3 months, March 21st, at least in the United States. It was like this shutdown time. Everybody like, oh, we're shut down. And so you can see how significant it is. And yes, a Saturn cycle is about every 28, 29 years. So 28, 29 years ago, Saturn made that shift into Aquarius, but this evolution, right, where we are right now, and then with this conjunction with Jupiter, it's a big deal. So Aquarius has to do with connecting. The desire to connect and find a place where we feel we belong will be so palpable. And this will lead a lot of people to move to other locations. And some of the moves will be prompted because of Earth changes, because while Uranus is making its sojourn, journey through Taurus, Taurus is the Earth, Uranus is change, it's disruption. And, the last time Uranus was in Taurus was in 1935 to 1942. I have a whole nother article on, Uranus and Taurus. There was mass migration across the globe, and a lot of it was prompted in part because of World War II, but there was also the Dust Bowl in the United States, where a huge amount of people left the Midwest and they went to California or other places where they could survive. So every time it's different, right? Because all the other planets are in different places, but it's still, you put these things together, this deep desire, where do I belong? Where do I want to feel connected? Plus the Uranian Earth changes. If you're feeling, not everybody, but many people will be moving. So finding a place where we feel at home over the next couple years, or even over the next 10 years, as the Saturn-Jupiter cycles, in 10 years' time, it will have the opposition, will come into place. So you might want to look at your astrocartography, to see where planetary lines are in the relocation charts are, if that's in your thinking, where you have to, it's more than that, you have to put all pieces together, of course. Now, this time of change, it is a time to contemplate the changing world and where you want to fit in, where you want to belong in it. And finding like your place, your niche that resonates with who you are, your gifts and talents, will really protect you from the craziness that might be going on around us. And Jupiter in Aquarius, Jupiter always wants us to experience things. It wants us to grow. It wants us to expand. It wants to protect us through saying, hey, look at the opportunities. Look at the glass half, full, that type of thing. Jupiter says, look for the opportunity in the middle of whatever else is going on. And Saturn is cautious, right? And Saturn is concerned with our material well-being. And Aquarius is very scientific and intellectual, and let me figure it out. But when Jupiter is in this sign of expansion, in Aquarius, it's what else do I want to know? What else do I want to learn? Let me step back, think outside of any problem, any situation, because there's that detachment from Aquarius. Let me take a deep breath. And by the way, the whole thing about air, having clean air, will definitely be, in our consciousness over the next couple of years. Not every day, of course, but in our consciousness, every time we see these mass fires and all types of pollution going on, because Aquarius is an air sign. We want to have, metaphorically, we want space to breathe. And, think of the breath. That is really our deepest, so much of our connection with the world, right? We breathe in. Where did the air come from that we breathed in? We breathe out, goes out in the winds, and who knows, crosses the ocean or whatever. So there's a tendency to intellectualize any situation in this time, but do not forget what your heart and what your intuition is telling you. So when you work those two things together, fabulous. And also, if you find there will be a lot of endings in terms of the career thing because of the Aquarian nature of transition. And if you find that your career path is leading to a dead end, just be mindful of whether or not you're choosing something new because it's logical, Aquarius logical. And if you are forgetting whether or not it will bring you satisfaction to your overall happiness. So, as you know, I mean, there's so many factors in considering when you're looking for career, right? And lots of factors in the chart. But your moon in your chart does symbolize where you will feel at home or at peace in your life and your circumstance. So choosing a career that resonates with your moon's desire, it's not everything. Just don't forget, what really makes me happy, what will make me content, because that's a contentment factor. And you always want to balance all the other planets. Is this part of me fulfilled? Is that part of me fulfilled? And of course, your basic sun, moon, and ascendant signers help you narrow down your options, as well as the career houses and the money house. So now let's go on to the individual, right? And so I'm going to start with Aries. So Aries ascendant. Now we're taking into what would be considered whole sign houses, as if you have 0 degrees of Aries on your ascendant, right? So, and then 0 degrees of all the other signs through the 12 houses, which is one way to look at and it is, for most part, when we do sun sign astrology, we can resonate with these planets. So Aries, you are quick to make a change, and times are changing. So the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius happens in your solar 11th house of friendships, groups, and organizations. So what does it mean? It's time to reassess who you still feel connected to and who you want to be connected to. Friends could be moving, or you might decide to move away from your friends. The larger meaning is to find connection in the world where you joyfully express yourself and feel free, right? Jupiter in Aquarius, I want to feel free. When you look at the chart for this new beginning in this 20-year cycle, the Capricorn solstice is happening in your career sector, but this is about the larger picture of your life. What do you want to do with your life? Uranus and Taurus is in your money house. There will be a change around you for the finances connected to what else you want to do in your job. Friends and acquaintances that can help you, will help you, connect or bring you to ideas, to this new beginning. Jupiter will be in your 11th house for 1 year, while Saturn will be there for 2 years. Jupiter always wants to protect us and expand and bring growth. So there can be unusual connections with like-minded individuals where there's mutual benefit for personal or professional growth. Saturn traveling through your 11th house for 2 years will be a reminder to focus on and be serious about who you want to spend time with or what groups you want to contribute towards. This is an extraordinary time for you of meeting eclectic people that open up your mind to a new way of looking at the world and a new reality. Okay. So Taurus. We are looking at Taurus from 0 degrees, on your ascendant, and then go all the way around. So the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction Taurus is happening in your solar 10th house of career and what you are known for. Sometimes this is considered the house of reputation. And sometimes this is considered the house of your job. Well, it is. It is considered house of reputation and career. But in reality, it is the part of your chart that represents what you want to be known for, whether it is your occupation or your hobby or your, that bigger picture of your life. On the one hand, Jupiter in your solar 10th house provides a protection around work in your life, your work environment. But Saturn in your 10th house brings a serious type of situation where if you have been unhappy in your work for a while, or disappointed or disillusioned about what you've been doing for the last 7 or 14 years, it's time to get the resume out. There's an astrological saying that goes with Saturn, which is when you put in the effort and work, the rewards are delayed with Saturn, but they will come. If you have been following what you wanted to do and you have put in, the foundation, the hard work, then with Saturn in your 10th house, rewards for your efforts can be fulfilled. One possibility is that you could get a new job or position. And there, because with Jupiter there, Jupiter says there's some type of opportunity for your career. The conjunction happens on the day of the solstice, which is another annual important event astrologically. Well, for us too, The sun is in your solar 9th house, which is about knowledge, learning, and sharing information. So there's something that you learn that nudges you into seeking a different career path or tweaking it. One must acknowledge that the planet Uranus is in your sign of Taurus. Uranus is known as the Great Awakener. And even though Uranus takes 7 years to go through all of Taurus, somewhere along the line, it promotes a major shift in your life. With Jupiter and Saturn conjunct in your career, and this is what I want to be known for, sector of your chart, the position of Uranus in the middle of Taurus in 2021 is a strong indication, that there could be some significant changes in your life. This is a year for more freedom and self-expression and to break away from old patterns that maybe they felt comfortable in the past, but they no longer represent who you are now or what you want to be or who you want to be known for. So blessings, Taurus. Okay, Gemini. Hello, Gemini. Hi, Gemini. How about Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius? It's your sister air sign. This is happening in your solar 9th house of travel, education, beliefs, sharing knowledge. On one hand, you might decide that it's time to chuck it all and move, travel, go see friends. There might be a romantic relationship that you develop that's virtual, long distance, and it develops into a more meaningful relationship. Jupiter will bring you the opportunity for these things to happen. And there will also be an opportunity to explore different ideas and determine if you have any old beliefs that are holding you back from your full potential. So, what's an old belief? That could be something that was valid long ago, but it's ready to let go of. Think about that. Is it like I'm too old to learn something new, or I already spent too much time learning how to do one career, it's too late to change? What kind of belief that you might be holding that, or I have children, how can I do this, or I don't have time, what belief? And it could be rooted in the reality, right? I'm not saying it's not real, but it's something that could be a little bit stuck. Or if you feel stuck, I want this, but I feel stuck. I can't because. So those are the beliefs that this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction will awaken you to see whether or not, is it really real? Now, there is part of it can be because it's in the house of education. Sometimes it can be about deciding to learn something new. Now, the planet Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, and it's in a sector of your chart that has to do with the unconscious. And since Uranus is known as the Great Awakener, being in the sector of your chart of the unconscious is waking you up to things that you might not have considered in the past. There will be a lot of aha moments that come to you. Oh, this is why this doesn't happen to me. This is where I've been setting myself up for failure. Or the Awakener planet, Uranus, brings up into your consciousness different parts of the psyche that help us to develop our potential. So the combination of Jupiter and Saturn in your 9th house with Uranus and Taurus in the 12th house is especially significant for 2021. They will create an aspect that is square to each other. Therefore, these two sectors of your life, from freedom from negative thinking, cool, or false beliefs, and the awakening of that which was hidden and is no longer unconscious, frees you to move, metaphorically speaking, forward in your life. It includes some very fun, down-to-earth experiences, such as travel, education, workshops, all those cool things, along with, new way of thinking to share with people that you feel connected to. So, Gemini, enjoy. All right, Cancer. Cancer. You are probably very happy that Saturn is out of Capricorn, which has been opposite your sign for the last 2.5 years and has moved into another sign. So this is like a huge sigh of relief with this new Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. However, Jupiter and Saturn are in an air sign and you are a water sign. So this causes a bit of a disconnect in some respects. Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is happening in your solar 8th house of other people's money and serious, intuitive, secret knowledge. Part of this Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is an intellectual disagreement with people that you are in partnership with in terms of the give and take of the relationship. Meaning, if you are married and your partner wants or doesn't want to spend money, because it's the sector of other people's money, your partner's money, there could be a no, a communication that will come up. In an employment situation, it's about serious discussions. Saturn's serious. Aquarius is talking things through about benefits and getting more money. So it could be a bit uncomfortable for you because the angle between Aquarius and Cancer is 150 degrees away, which is an angle of learning and adjusting. It's about going beyond your comfort zone and having faith and state your case, and all is cool. It's also a time to take a closer look at any agreements that you have, such as your health insurance, anything to do with insurances, credit cards, car insurance, to negotiate a better deal. The planet Uranus is in your solar 11th house of friendships, and the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius has a lot to do with changing and finding and connecting with people of like mind. And of like mind and with people that I really feel free to be myself. So with the planet Uranus in your 11th house, it's emphasizing this, 11th house of friendships. That it's suggesting that there's an opportunity, but the opportunity comes from making some changes and moving beyond that comfort zone to find or connect with these individuals. The astrology is suggesting that the connections will be around a mutual interest, such as a hobby or a group. We think the same way, we got the same, let's do this. Perhaps it's arts or crafts. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be gardening, community organizations. It's something but where there's an opportunity to connect or to help or support a group that you have this mutual connection with. Okay, so this is for Leo. The Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. Hi, Leo. I should say hi first. Hi, Leos. My friends, Leos. The Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius is opposite your solar 7th house. This is really exciting. It's bringing you opportunities to expand your relationships. But on the other hand, with Saturn in your 7th house of partnerships, it's saying be particular about who you're giving your loyalty to and spending time with. If you've been in relationships with individuals, whether they're romantic or friendships, and you have not been receiving what you want, then it's over the next 2 years, there will be time to change the pattern or break away. In 2021, with Jupiter and Aquarius in your 7th house of partnerships, it's a good time to expand your circle of friends and connections. Jupiter wants to grow, wants to expand. The conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius is really what this is all about. Some connections will be with groups or organizations, because Aquarius has groups, wants to, that humanitarian, where are we connected? Another partnership could be with a business idea that you have. Let's partner up and somebody to help you be motivated, and you help each other promote that new business. The planet Uranus is connected with this new cycle of Jupiter and Saturn in 2021 because Uranus will be squaring these planets. Uranus is now in your solar 10th house of career, of what you want to be known for in the world. So Uranus breaks things apart to create the space for change. It can come with a change in your job. It can come through a change in where you're living. It can come from you wanting to be free from what you've been doing and doing something completely different. The opportunity energy will be from Jupiter in Aquarius in the 7th house of other people. Even if you do not know that person individually, there will be a person out there in the world that can serve as a role model and give you ideas or bring knowledge and information that will inspire you to look for that new path. Look towards the virtual world. Virtual world, we're in the Aquarian age. The Aquarian, not like, age of Aquarius, but we're in the Aquarian time, which is we can't see it. It's all in the air. Intellectual, technology. So look towards the virtual world, because this is so much of what this Aquarian energy new conjunction is suggesting. Keep your intuition attuned to things that come across your screen, or ideas that just pop up in your mind and ignite a spark in your heart that says, this is for me. In terms of partnerships, in relationships, if you're single, you want to be in a partnership, this is a year where there'll be a lot of opportunity. Jupiter says there are a lot of people out there that you can connect with, and perhaps through your friends you meet somebody, or through the internet, Aquarius, that Aquarius energy. However, Saturn is saying have strong boundaries about who you want to be with, so you do not waste your time. Saturn hates wasting time. Okay, have a beautiful Jupiter, Aquarius, Saturn time. So Virgo. Now Virgo, the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius is happening in your solar sixth house of work, health, and routines. Now this is sometimes called the natural house of Virgo. However, Aquarius is 150, the sign Aquarius is 150 degrees away from Virgo, and it's an aspect that's called an inconjunct, and it represents making adjustments, moving beyond your comfort zone, and basically, having to adjust and grow in life. The opportunity for more health and vitality is here for you in 2021. Saturn for the next 2 years in this house is saying, get your routine, get it together in terms of your routine. And a routine that will keep you strong and healthy for the next 30 years, because that's a Saturn cycle. And Saturn won't be around there, spends 2 years there, and then 28 years later, it comes back in. So as far as work goes, Jupiter says that Jupiter wants to protect and to bring opportunities. So you'll be protected. But Saturn is saying stay focused. There's an opportunity to get a little bit scattered with all this air energy. I got this idea, and what about this, and what about this? So Saturn's saying stay focused. Just be wise and intelligent about the use of your time. Since Aquarius is an intellectual sign and deals with communication, there will be all those distractions will come around your work and can get in the way of your healthy routine. So once again, it's important to stay focused. The planet Uranus is in the sign of Taurus in your solar ninth house of education, beliefs, travel, knowledge. Uranus is making an important aspect with Saturn. It's a square in 2021 a few times. It's very significant to delineate the two together. Or, it just gives you more information. Astrology is very complex. You want to look at the whole thing. So the Uranus in the part of your chart, it's another earth sign, so that's good. But it has to do with knowledge and education, and Saturn and Jupiter in your house of work. So this is suggesting there's more knowledge for you and training that will support your career path. There is a desire to break away from whatever you have learned before in order to do something different for your work, because Uranus wants to, hey, what else is new? The new cycle in your chart is suggesting insightful knowledge that will bring you more freedom and flexibility. That's Jupiter in your daily life. So there might be, it is an Aquarius, the Jupiter Saturn with this other planet up here in the knowledge sector. It might be something unconventional. because both of those planets, Uranus is a little unconventional, Aquarius is a little bit, let me be on the forefront of things, let me stay on the forefront. But it could be unconventional, but it could be very supportive for your daily life or health. All right. So now Libra. Now Libra, your Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is in your sister air sign of Aquarius. In addition, it is in your 5th house of romance, love affairs, children, hobbies, nice, fun things. It's the general house of doing something that brings you happiness. It's a great place for this new conjunction to begin. Part of it can signify that you will check out different things that you like to do, and maybe something completely different that brings you happiness. Maybe it's the old gym that you used to go to, something like that. I've been there, done that. I want something else. I used to take Zumba. Maybe there's something else. So just be open to connecting with others to do these joyful activities with, because Aquarius is about being connected. Where's my connection? There could be friends that no longer are, because it's a new beginning, there could be friends that are no longer interested in doing what you like to do. Or maybe they're moving away, or they're, and you could be finding new groups, and you could be finding new interests and new connections. As far as your love life goes, if you are single, this could be a very interesting year, since Jupiter always wants to bring us opportunity and growth, expansion. But Saturn says be serious about things. Just don't waste your time. So Saturn in the 5th house of dating is a little funky, since Saturn can create obstacles in the dating world that can cause frustration, but Jupiter says there's all these opportunities. So what you have is Jupiter is helping you out find people. And yeah, if there's, somebody that has too much baggage or something, there's more choices. For those of you who are in a set relationship, that part of my life is all, I got that handled, then it's all about embracing life and finding fulfillment and enjoyment and doing things that are fun, especially with others, because it's Aquarius. Where's my friendships? Where's my connection? Now, let's look at the planet Uranus and Taurus. Since this particular 2021, they are intimately connected. They're square each other. Uranus is in an area of your chart that has to do with other people's money you owe other people, like insurance and taxes, credit cards, and it's the part of the chart that's intuition. So since Uranus is the great awakener, and Saturn and Jupiter is in a part of your chart that represents hobbies or dating or doing things that are fun. One possibility about how these two are coming together is that there could be some changes in your partner's money that go up and down, but it also can be, or that you just want to make some changes in terms of, getting things handled on the debt department of life. But it also can be that there's something new that's really important to you. If I don't enjoy life now, when am I going to enjoy it? However, I want to explore this new hobby. Oh, but how much will it cost? How much will it cost for me to explore this new hobby? Maybe it's painting and, a canvas and paint. Maybe it's not that much money, but what if it's photography and you need this huge, expensive photography thing? It doesn't matter. Maybe it's something like, maybe it's astrology and going to all the astrology conferences and how do I come up with the caps? It doesn't matter, but it can be that way. But there is a way. Jupiter says There is a way to do it. Uranus has a way of opening things up, and keep an open mind if you feel stuck. I want to have fun doing this. I want to go back to my old or create a new hobby. I want to go skiing. Jupiter has a way, Uranus has a way of awakening things and opening things up, and Jupiter has a way of yeah, having somebody, bring you something a little fortunate. So at the end result of this new cycle is that there will be new people in your life to enjoy the simple pleasures of life with. Scorpio. So Scorpio, the Saturn Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius is in your solar fourth house of home and family. And so finding your tribe is front and center. A desire to, maybe a desire to move pops up into your head, or simply a metaphor for reconnecting with that which makes you feel at home. Maybe your friends are more of a family connection than your biological family. There's that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in the house of home and family, seeking connection and for where you are living is part of this new cycle. Saturn and Jupiter urge us to create a home as a sanctuary and to be very particular about who you bring into your sacred space. It's like an inner call. It's in one of the intuitive houses, an inner call from your higher or intuitive self, like whispers. Now is the time to include those you trust into your most private thoughts. Traveling and researching to different places to seek out whether or not it's time to relocate is part of this energy. The place, maybe there's a place that's been calling to you, that, and it could be much different than where you're living now because it's a new cycle and it's Aquarius. What is Aquarius? Why is it Aquarius? Why is that different? Because Aquarius wants new experiences. It wants something that is, yes, more than anything, something to feel connected to. Now, the planet Uranus in Taurus, Uranus is in Taurus, is very closely connected to this cycle because there will be these squares this year, and Uranus is in Taurus opposite your sign. So being in your seventh house of partnerships, Uranus creates circumstances that will bring different people into your life. If you have a great relationship, it will not disturb your significant other. Doesn't mean that. If there are problems in your relationship, in your significant other relationship, then what can happen is that there can be some drama or chaos to stir things up. So whatever has been buried or shoved aside, it is out in the light and comes out into the open to be dealt with. It's usually a little bit uncomfortable, but the cycle says it's necessary to reveal that which has been hidden, right? Because we got those two planets, new beginning, Uranus in the seventh house of partnerships, the great awakener, but we have Jupiter and Saturn, new beginning in Aquarius, in the solar fourth house, which represents the subconscious. So it brings things up that have been, okay, no more. Now, it can be big discussions or little discussions that result in changes in your home. The good news is it's a really exciting time. If you're single, it's very exciting because if you are contemplating a move with Saturn in your fourth house, it's suggesting get all of the facts. Definitely, Aquarius wants all the information, all the facts. Get all the facts and do the research before you move so you don't regret it. Saturn, that's one of the things with Saturn, figure it out so you don't regret things. Now, Uranus opposite your sun sign is just saying go for it, especially if you're breaking away from individuals that you feel are holding you back or too controlling in any way. So it's a very exciting energy, even though it can be uncomfortable because usually not everything is under your control during this time frame. So enjoy, Scorpio. Sagittarius, you have the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction and Aquarius in your solar third house of communication and education. It's an excellent time to learn something new or go out and share what you already know with others. Jupiter wants us to expand. It's your ruling planet, wants us to expand and grow. And in your third house, it's saying, hey, of writing and communication, there will be many areas of your life to talk about, to share. Yet it's in Aquarius. Therefore, it's about being able to share your thoughts and ideas with people who will listen to you. They have an open mind, Aquarius, do you have an open mind here and are able to consider your ideas? So is there that mind connection? Saturn moving through this area of your chart for 2 years suggests can be a new training program, because that is the part of the chart that represents, what can I know that will help me in my daily life? It's like training programs. It doesn't have to be a 4, 6, 8 year, long degree program. It can be a 6-month training program or even a weekend such and such, or you get the picture, right? It's like, oh, I get this piece of knowledge and I can go out and use it. This area of the chart also has a lot to do with short trips and travel, like mini trips and, around the neighborhood, going to work in a different way, anything that breaks up the monotony or boredom of life, and weekends. For weekends, it's like saying, oh, just go to travel friends or your favorite getaways, just to get away. Something that doesn't take a lot of time, but it gives you enough time to, it doesn't have to be long distance. It's considered short trips. So you're not in the car for an extended period. You have enough time to get out and enjoy your friends and do stuff. Now, with Saturn in that sector, since it is a sector of travel, moving around, you could be looking for, it could be over the next couple of years, if you have a car, there could be things that need to be taken care of with the car. Or you could even entertain ideas like, well, how could I get around without a car, without that expense? Maybe I can, use my bicycle more, or this or that. Now, Uranus is in Taurus, and with Uranus and Taurus, this year is going to be squaring Saturn. So it's intimately connected with this new beginning, at least the start of this new cycle. And it's a conflict energy between wanting to be free, bumping up against responsibilities that we have. So these two planets are happening, right? The Saturn, Jupiter are happening in your third house of education and knowledge, but Uranus and Taurus is happening in your daily work and routine life. So when you put these two vibes together, it's pointing that there will be new knowledge that will change the work that you do or support the work that you do. If you love what you do, it's like great. It's exciting. I want to learn this and it will help me be able to do that. If you do not love what you're doing, then it can feel more of a necessity. Oh, bummer. Now I have to go learn this program because it's required for me to do my work. So the planet Uranus is called the Great Awakener sometimes, and it creates change, sometimes unexpectedly. And it's in your house of work. So if your work goes away for some reason, some unexpected manner, you could decide it's just time to try something different. Even in the short term, if there's something unjust about the job situation, The vibration will free you up to be more yourself, because Uranus in the sixth house of everyday work, I just want to be myself. I want to have more breathing space. So when you look at Jupiter and Saturn in the house of communication, it is pointing to a new work or a new way of feeling more self-expressed in your work. So enjoy Sagittarius. Okay. Capricorn. Finally, Capricorn, Saturn has left your sign after a long and arduous journey of 2.5 years. It is now in Aquarius. Yay. The new Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius is happening in your solar second house of money and finance. It represents a new start for you and new ideas, since Aquarius is a sign of the intellect around money and your financial future. It's a great time for you to consider how much you really need to have the life you want. Your mind will kick in and do research. Aquarius says, let me figure it out. Let me get the facts. To figure out exactly the path needed to get where you want to be for that larger picture. Saturn and Jupiter in the sector of your chart also points towards incredible opportunities to develop your own talents. It's a house of self-worth, what the sense of create the abundance in the financial future that brings you the freedom and security that you desire. Your mind is challenged to think it through, since Aquarius is a fixed mental sign, and the practicalities that the Capricorn, Capricorn, and the Capricorn in you, right? The Capricorn, let me figure it out. I want to be sure of what you can and cannot accomplish. So you're challenged to think about it in a new way, challenging any limiting beliefs about, I can't, or this might happen. Jupiter in Aquarius is asking you to expand your possibilities beyond your comfort zone of what you is generally, you generally feel, what's generally known and accepted is what can happen to create the reality you want. So there's a little bit of a push. And again, it's like, that can't happen. Why not? That's going on. It can be, in your quiet hours, just pop up in your mind. The planet Uranus is in Taurus, and it's connected to this new Saturn-Jupiter cycle. And Uranus in Taurus is in your solar 5th house in your chart, which is the house of romance, the house of hobbies, the house of parenthood, children, the house of doing what you enjoy to do. So this combination between the money house and the hobby house, play and have fun sector of your chart, suggests a juggling act between the money to have to do what you want to do. If you are a parent, then it can be about having the money to, finance something that for your child, that you want send the kid to soccer or music lessons, or all the stuff that kids do. It could be a combination of that. Or if you're thinking about having a child, right? It's like, how much money, right, do I need? Or even if your child is your dog or cat or pet, it can be about that too. So it's saying that with a little bit of innovation, financial innovation, to get things off the ground, you can make it happen. Jupiter in your second house is saying the opportunity is there, yet Saturn is saying you just might have to put in the effort to find it, to find how to make that happen and work it out. Okay, Aquarius, here we are. Jupiter conjunction in your sign. That's like a big deal. So this Jupiter conjunction in your sign is beginning of a new 20-year cycle, and it's happening in your sign. It's maybe you are anticipating these huge changes by the new year or your birthday, but be patient. Just be prepared and get ready. Jupiter is saying there's an opportunity for you to have more freedom and expansion and growth. Jupiter always wants us to expand, know more, do more, have more. What else do you want to know? Aquarius, intellectual. Where else do you want to go? What else? Who do you want to do it with? Friendships. If you could do anything in the world, what would it be? So in Saturn in Aquarius is saying, just make a plan for it. Just make a plan for it. And Jupiter says, go for it. It might take a little longer than you expect, but that's okay. In terms of what you are doing with Saturn over the next 2 years crosses over your sun sign, because it would take Saturn did dip into Aquarius March 21st and was there for a couple of months and went back into, right? But now it's here for the next 2 years strong. So over the next 2 years, at some point, it's going to cross over your sun sign. And at that time, it will be a time to be very focused about where you are putting your energy into. Take care of yourself. It's not a time to push your body. It's a time to reassess. What is it I really want? Jupiter is in Aquarius in 2021. It's giving you protection, but it will only help so much. And since you are a fixed air intellectual person, sometimes your mind will want to overrule your body or what your body is trying to tell you. So listen to your body. This is a time for a new start, whether it's a new job, a new career, a new relationship, a new place to live. Wherever you want a new start, 2021 and 2022 is the time to do it. The planet Uranus in Taurus is connected to this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. In 2021, there will be a square configuration. Uranus and Saturn square off. So Jupiter too. What this means is that there is a tension between Uranus, which wants us to break free, open things up, and create this newfound freedom, create change. And Saturn wants stability and says things are not as easy as they appear. The conflict is happening between your solar fourth house of home and family, where Uranus is, and of course your first house, where Aquarius is, your solar first house, where Saturn and Jupiter are. Now, the fourth house is also called the house of the subconscious. Early conditioning, family, right? How we were wired when we were a little kid. So that's with Saturn traveling through the fourth house, it can indicate change in our home life, It also can represent this awakening of understanding ourselves in a deeper way. Like these memories bubble up from when I was little. Oh, that's why such and such bothers me. Or, oh, that's why these memories come up. Like, wait a minute, where one was formed different beliefs about life and self. So when Uranus, the awakener, goes through this part, along with Saturn in your first house, saying, hey, it's time to really be who you are, authentically yourself, and Jupiter saying, yeah, grow, expand. What can happen is that there could be different courses or seminars or books that speak to you, that cross your path, that help in this awakening. New experiences are you're being called for these new experiences. old patterns, relationships that you've outgrown, places that you've lived could seem stale if they don't excite you anymore. Or if you feel it's just time for something different. Saturn in your sign for 2 years is saying just take your time to think it through. And don't be afraid about the change, right? But just be prepared. Jupiter brings the confidence to take a chance and says, look to the future. There's always another chance. There's always another day. There's always the new day. So really, Aquarian friends, wow, it's pretty cool that this huge new, if you listen to the first part, huge new cycle is the huge wind under your wings here. Okay, Pisces. Hi, Pisces. Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius is in the sign behind you. So what this means is that this new beginning is happening in a sector of your chart that's representative of the unconscious and the collective unconscious of the world. You will find yourself having these brilliant insights of why the world is the way it is and deep premonitions. On a more practical level, Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in your solar 12th house whispers for you to become more aware of how you could be your own worst enemy, because it wants to awaken you. This beckons you to seek the path of awareness and enlightenment. This part of the chart is traditionally considered the sector of hospitals and seminaries, anywhere one is tucked away. In modern times, we call it the house of retreat, the desire to retreat from the busyness of the world and rejuvenate. This new beginning suggests a desire or a need to get away and rejuvenate. And there's a spiritual component to this placement. The 12th house is sometimes called the natural house of Pisces. So that inner voice, return to your inner essence where peace and contentment reside. Whether, it could be through meditation, music, yoga, anything that brings you closer to that inner state of calmness and connection with universal source. Remember what I said in the beginning, the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius, that place of finding where we belong. But in your natural 12th house, it's of universal connection, cosmic consciousness. It's like, this cosmic consciousness of connecting with all of the essence, all that is. And with people, it's not just that, but and with people, it does mean many things. If you do not feel, how do I get there? This sense of being able to connect to the Akashic records, cosmic consciousness, universal knowledge immediately, don't worry, because it's a long cycle. But this is the beginning of this long cycle, and you'll have a lot of time to master it. Now, the planet Uranus in Taurus is really connected to this cycle, this new cycle, because it's going to be squaring these energies in 2021. Uranus in Taurus is in your solar 3rd house of writing and communication. And with this conjunction that happens on the conjunction is happening on the solstice, right? This sense of communicating and writing, there could be a lot of inspiration that you feel, that writing inspiration is sparked. Like your journal will be your friend. And it doesn't matter. It could be a short poem, it could be a song, it could be just jotting down different ideas that pop into your mind, catch them before they disappear type of a thing. There will be many gifts that come your way through this connection with the collective unconscious. You could get these when you're taking a shower, or all of a sudden something comes to you. I need to call this person. let me check my email. Let me, just out of nowhere, because this Saturn Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius is, you have this telephone, so to speak, with this universal knowledge. And then Uranus in your third house of communication. It's like, oh, this person just, I have a feeling I need to talk to them, and boom. You have that anyways because you're Pisces and intuitive, but it will be even more so. And it's not just it develops over this huge new cycle. You can carry this for the rest of your life. Like, I need this answer, let me meditate. Boom, oh, this is what I need to do. So you could wake up in the morning and have this very prophetic dream come to you, journal it because it can slip away. Or all these things you already know. On your way home from work, you could be a little tired and zoned out, and all of a sudden you have this amazing insight of why something is the way it is and how it helps humanity or how it can help humanity. The new cycle of Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius in your 12th house is really time to appreciate solitude and having time for yourself and your loved ones. Let's just get away. With Saturn going into Pisces in a couple of years, that's a stronger time for taking action. Now is the time, and everybody's chart's different, of course, but as a generalization, when Saturn goes into Pisces in a couple of years, that will be a time for taking action. But now is the time for dreaming, relaxing, rejuvenating, and thinking about life in a different way. The consciousness of the universe is doing its best to speak to you and through you. So thank you all for tuning in. May your life and world be filled with joy and peace and health.